Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Thanks for joining me. Today I want to try and teach you a couple of editing tricks when it comes to editing your photos in Lightroom. I guess one of the things when you're new to astrophotography, you do have those hurdles of getting out there in the dark and taking your images, but then trying to get the most out of them when you want to get home and edit them. So today I want to take you through a bit of a basic workflow on editing some photos in Lightroom. Hopefully you do get to learn some tips and tricks along the way. But look, I don't want to make this video go on too long. I want to be nice, short and sweet. So we'll jump into it. Okay, so here's the Milky Way. This image here is, well, technically it's multiple images, but I don't take single images anymore. But these are single images stitched together to make a panorama. So I'm just going to take you through my workflow. Hopefully some things I do here will give you a helping hand in editing your photos. So first of all, what I do is I want to quickly crop this image. I'll do that with a single image as well. Just unlock the cropping tool, bring that into about there, and about there. And I want to get rid of Jupiter because it's too stretched. There we go. Crop, done. Alright, so I'm always keeping an eye on my histogram here. As you can see that the blue sections there are all clipped and we've lost data. So I just want to push the blacks up to regain a bit of detail in the dark areas, and then I will grab the shadows and do the same a little bit. And as we're doing that, we're bringing back some dynamic range in the image, and we're spreading out the histogram. If that's one tip I can give you, is just keep an eye on your histogram. It's good to have this first spike down to a valley, then up to a hump. That there is a pretty good exposure. As you look at the image on the screen and look at the histogram, if you can take your photos out in the field and you can get sort of a histogram looking similar to this, then you're doing some pretty good exposures. So that's one tip I'll give you. Okay, so once we've done that and we're sort of boosting our exposure and we're sort of happy with how that's looking now on screen, I want to do a bit of a color balance. So tip 2, doing a color balance, is boosting your vibrance and your saturation, which then shows you your blue tones, your warm tones, your magentas and your greens. So most of the greens is in the foreground. I've got a little bit up here in the sky, and there's a lot of blue and a lot of red, but this night there was a lot of warm air glow. So I will just probably swing it a little less blue, about there, add a little bit of magenta back in, and then I think that will do for my color balance. But by boosting your vibrance and your saturation, it allows you to see where all the color tones are a lot easier. So then when you go down to your vibrance and your saturation, you set them by double clicking on them. That gives you a very flat gray image now, and that's now a blank canvas for you now to start doing some more aggressive editing. So since I've done that, I'm going to want to maybe just add a little bit of contrast back into it because it is a bit flat. Probably boost the shadows a little bit more for my liking, and the exposure a little bit more. But by doing that, I'm going to bring the highlights back down to retain that core. Add a little bit of clarity, nothing crazy, maybe plus 12. I will boost the vibrance and the saturation a little bit now, just to add a bit of color to the image. I will do a bit more targeted stuff in a second. Once we've done that basics panel, or actually what I should mention is, if you are doing single images, is to come down here, is probably do lens corrections and tick those boxes. It did do a little bit for me over here. It'd probably do more if it was just one single images. It will help fix your vignette and stuff, but you can manually do all that sort of things. But as you can see, the 12-24mm G Master, it did do a little bit of distortion correction over here, but nothing crazy. So And the other thing is to come to the details panel and just get rid of that sharpening for now. Just leave the sharpening out of it. and the noise reduction. We'll do that at the end. But so we've done our basic panels. We're happy with how that's sort of looking just by moving a few sliders. Next we come down to, I'll probably just skip the tone curve for now, come down to our HSL color panel and do more targeted color pushing. So the reds and oranges for that nice air glow that happened this night. I will push the blues a little bit just to add them to the sky. With the yellow and the green, as you can see, they're all here in the foreground. I actually want to mute them, so I actually want to bring them and reduce the yellows and the greens. I don't want them to be too bright because you don't see too much color at night, so I want to mute the ground. I want the sky to be the hero shot. I might push the magentas a little bit and the purples because they are some colors in the sky with that. But that's about it. You can go crazy. You can change like hues and stuff. You can, not that that does anything actually. Is it doing much? Oh, it's doing a little bit, but as I said, I don't do any of this sort of crazy stuff normally. I like to keep what colors are in the sky as natural as possible. But that there is pretty much a basic edit. You might want to do a bit more targeted editing now, where, like say for the foreground, I'll come to the gradient tool. Let me just reset the gradient tool. But I'll drag up a gradient tool, let's say about that. Drag that up to about there. I'll grab the blacks again, and I'll push them up. I'll grab the shadows again, drag them up. I'll now refine this a little bit, so it's a little bit more, add some contrast to the foreground. Actually, let me bring the shadows about there. No, I might add those blacks back in. There we go. And then boost the exposure of the foreground a little bit. And the highlights. There we go. There we go. Foreground's looking a little bit nicer now. So now we've got a nice little color exposure across the whole sky. Now I'm going to grab my brush tool. I'm going to target the Milky Way here with this. So I'll bring my shadows down. I'm going to bring the blacks down a little bit. And then with my brush, I'm going to just brush this in. I can see my screen being a bit weird because I'm doing a screen recording for this video and my computer can't handle it. So bear with me. But yeah, just coloring in the Milky Way and then just making those dust lanes pop a little bit more. And then I can do it again with the highlights, and that'll just make the core glow a little bit more. Now I'm going to try and see if I can show you, click this off and on. It's very subtle, I can see it. I don't know if you're all going to be able to see it, but it's there. But alright, so I might actually just bump up the exposure, boost the saturation as well in the core, and that will do. But look, that's pretty much a basic edit. Now you can do your little bit of noise reduction, because being a single image, you're probably going to have a bit of noise, but that's okay. So I just want to do a little bit, up to 20, boost the detail a bit to try and hold some of that detail after doing the noise reduction. And then you come up to the sharpening, just boost that by, say, another 20. But come to the masking, so you click the masking and hold Alt or Option, and then just drag that along, and everything that's white is going to be sharpened. And then leave it, and then that just sharpens the image as a whole now. But look, I think that'll do, because that's now a basic edit. I've only used Lightroom, I've only used those few sliders, nothing crazy. So you can get that sort of an image. I might even come back up here, see if I can do this, see if I can be a bit more aggressive with the vibrance. There we go, just punch a little bit more color in there. But that's just a Lightroom image, edited image, nothing crazy, where I've got my image I've put over into, I've done a bit more color grading and a bit more editing to this image. This image was my final image from editing in Photoshop and doing star reduction and stuff. So as you can see, we've got the Lightroom image here, where, you know, I'd be happy with that if I started off, you know, when I started off a few years ago, to getting a little bit more targeted and color grading and more, I guess, advanced editing techniques in Photoshop, but not too far different. I think I've gone a bit more of a warmer tones over on the Photoshop side, but look, I'd be happy with that, you know, a few years ago, editing in Lightroom. Alright guys, thanks for watching that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you picked up a few tips there. You don't need to go too crazy with your editing, especially if you are new and you're starting out, but basic edits in Lightroom will definitely do the job. So I hope some of those little tips and editing techniques are going to help you with your editing in the time to come with your images. But look, if you enjoyed that, please make sure you hit subscribe. If you've got any questions about the video or questions in regards to some editing techniques in Lightroom, make sure you leave a comment down below. If you've got any ideas on videos of editing videos that you want to sort of learn, maybe leave a comment and tell me those ideas, and I can look at trying getting those videos done for you as well. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Thanks for joining me. I hope you guys can get some clear skies, but I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.